Hey, see those gooey tips? That is a finest badger that I am soaking. This is a Maseto brand, and it's their 2-band or finest badger. The handle is a nice barber type shape, a little bit of length to it. It's called the Memphis handle. We'll be using the W2. This is the 95 gap. I just recently agreed to a trade for this head because I really like this 95 gap. But to be honest, I believe that a slightly smaller gap might be something I enjoy more of a long term, just for mild, comfortable shaves. And you know this head is still going to make them very efficient. This one's still enjoyable. I don't get any irritation from it, but I thought I might try the milder version. And so I'm going to trade. So I had to get in one more shave in it before I send it off, because it took me a long time to acquire it. This is a Gillette brand-ish Wilkinson sword, and this is the Indian version. I think if it says the Gillette on the packaging, on the envelope, then it's the Indian version. If it doesn't, then it's the German version. Slight difference between the two. Some people like one, don't like the other. I like both. I just happen to have a billion of the Indian version because I ordered them from Amazon and they were super cheap. Don't have to worry about alignment. This blade's been used a few times. Do I have some dots? I see 2 dots, so maybe just twice. It's a good budget blade, very inexpensive. Soap we're going to be using today is Wickham 1912, and Russian Leather is the scent. And here's some soap data for you. Freeze frame that if you want, if you're interested. It's a hard, nice hard soap. It's not totally hard, but it is fairly hard. It's resistant to making an indentation with your fingers. And I really like the scent. It's a pretty strong scent. That's what Wickham does. I like that usually. This one is a little pungent. Definitely is a good one to wake somebody up. I could see how it might be a little too strong for some folks. But it's one of the few of the samples of Wickham that I tried that I thought, hey, I like this one a lot. Let's bring it in. And so I managed to get a used puck of it, and this will be my first time trying it. So I have tried this scent before, but it was a sample. All right, I'm gonna get my face wet, and then we will lather up. So the brush has been soaking for a while. The puck has not. On anything that's not a super hard soap, I don't do any kind of soaking or blooming. All right, here we go. Let's do a 30-second lather or 30-second load. The 40-second mark is going to go around right there. Just kind of medium to light pressure. I said 30, the 40-second mark, not really for your benefit, but for mine. That'll help me to remember where I started. So we'll stop at the 10-second mark, which is coming up in just 12 seconds. Yeah, it's already starting to get a little sudsy and lathery. And there we go. Looks like it's picked up plenty. But sometimes how much soap you lather on is deceptive, because it can vary per soap. So I'm going to immediately start just working that. Yeah, that scent is coming up. I wrote down the scent notes. There they are. Man, it looks like about 10 or 11 different pieces or parts to this scent profile. Now, obviously, some of them are going to be stronger than others. It's called Russian Leather. There isn't even a leather accord in here. We've got lavender, bergamot, lemon, geranium, fern, cedar, patchouli, vanilla, moss, musk, tonka bean, and amber. Obviously those top notes are some florals and some citrus, the bergamot and the lemon being the citrus ones. Really like this soap base. And the lavender, geranium, fern kind of being the florals. Then you've got some mid notes. You got a woody one for the cedar and maybe the patchouli. What is that? Oh, vanilla. Did I say vanilla? All right. This was far away and it was tilted, and so it was hard for me to read. Lavender, bergamot, lemon, geranium, fern, cedar, patchouli, vanilla, moss, musk, tonka bean, and amber. And so those, the moss, musk, tonka bean, and amber, those are usually the base notes that you sometimes don't really smell too much until kind of the end, or and it's because they're not as pungent and strong, they're not as volatile, so they don't evaporate as quickly, and so they stay around. Since they stay around longer, that's why they're kind of called the base notes. So this doesn't really bubble up or anything like that. It just looks really cool kind of from the beginning. Two teaspoons are now in the lather. So they were going for kind of an imperial leather kind of scent. That's what the kind of the write-up said. These tips on this brush are lighter color than the 3-band brush or the silver tip that they have, and that's because these were treated, bleached probably, to help them to weaken a little bit and be softer. And so sometimes those will have a tendency to gel or feel different on the face. Maybe they feel like they have to do that because otherwise it would be a little too much backbone. The silver tip doesn't really need too much softness on the tips, or it doesn't need us to try to manufacture some extra softness, because it's already a medium to low backbone brush, and it splays easily, and the softness is just kind of built in to that brush, to that knot. But with the 2-bands, they're much more firm, and so if they didn't treat the tips, it's possible that more people wouldn't like them. So if you have a more firm backbone, let's make the tips extra soft with some artificial treatments like bleach, and then maybe people will have a brush that they enjoy because maybe they like more backbone than the silver tips provide, but still want some soft face feel. And so I think it's my theory about why they treat the tips of the 2-bands in many cases. So we've got 3 teaspoons of water in here. It has some. My computer's down, my website, and so some error, not my whole website, just my shaving part. And so I can't remember how much water this base likes to have. This looks terrific. Look how creamy and awesome it looks. Let's just add another ½ teaspoon because I'm a glutton for punishment. This is my Roger Quintero shave bowl, lather bowl. Thumb or brush rest right there. Spokes in the inside ridges to help with lather agitation. An inturned lip to fold the lather back in, make it extra hard for the lather to get out of the bowl. This is the extra large version of those files that are linked to in my description of the video. And if you have a 3D printer or access to one, you can make one of these yourself. Somebody told me this takes about 29 hours to print. It's quite a thing. All right, so I'm going to get my face wet again, and then we will lather up. A little bit more than 24 hours today in the shave. I mean, in the hair growth. You can definitely smell the florals. And who knows, the sample I got could vary a lot with the actual soap. It's really interesting to see the different trends that the European soap makers have that the American ones don't. A lot more florals. And sometimes it's really interesting. Sometimes because it's like we have a bigger palette, and this just popped into my head. We have a bigger palette to choose from. We're bringing up all these, all these different things. Apple and vanilla and fig and, I mean, everything out there that's a scent, we're, throwing into it, where they are sometimes sticking with more traditional scents, the florals and the musks and things like that. And so sometimes theirs are more mature because they've had to stay within a certain realm, and so they've had to find variation and nuance with a limited amount of selections. Whereas we're finding different scents because we're just opening it up to anything that we enjoy. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But I don't see too many like Stirling, peach, cherry, pineapple, margaritas, that sort of thing, bourbon, and so many other scents that a lot of the American makers carry that the European ones just, no way. And so in some sense, the variation is more interesting with American because it's wider, but the sophistication is stronger with the European because it's narrower and they've had to work with less. I think I like both categories. I'm glad that both are being played with. So I bought these blades a long time ago. Wilkinson sword. A little bit of blade feel. My Gillette Silver Blue definitely had a better smoothness to it, cut more easily. It's a good budget blade choice. Cost about half as much as some of the other ones. Of course, if you can get your more expensive ones to last 20 shaves, all of a sudden cost isn't really as much of an issue. I don't really think, I think this is a little too floral for me, coming right from the puck. The sample, I think maybe some of that, the top notes, some of those top notes were lost. Maybe the sample was older. Maybe it sat in the warehouse for a while after they mixed it up. I think I got it from WCS. WCS? Yeah, West Coast Shaving. Let me rinse. But I definitely did not get this kind of floral from the sample that I had. I'm glad I didn't buy a new puck. I'm glad I waited for a used one to come up. This brush is getting a little bit softer as the shave goes on. I probably should have soaked it for a little bit longer. Probably be real nice by the time I'm lathering up for the third pass. Yeah, this is too feminine for me. The florals. The performance is terrific. I feel like I nailed the consistency here of the lather. Creamy, but still very slick. So these blades, Wilkinson sword, I went to buy just 20 of them because I wanted to try them out on Amazon. But for like $2 more, I could get 100. And I can't resist such a good deal. It's the better value. That first pass may have, had some blade feel. It didn't have any irritation. And it wasn't really scrapey. It wasn't rough at all. It was just some blade feel. But now, that first pass did such a good job. And maybe the lather is working into my skin to help protect. I don't know. My guess is that it's just the shorter hairs, and many of them got taken out for the most part by that first pass. So very, very comfortable second pass. And rinse. All right, lather for the third pass. Yeah, the brush is much nicer. I needed to let this guy soak for a little bit longer. I mean, it's workable, but if you want a comfortable splay, do yourself a favor and let this one soak. And I think any of those that have the treated tips are probably going to act similarly. They need more time for those bleached tips to absorb water. Yeah, this lather's mixed perfectly. I love this base. I wish that I could find a scent from them that I just really enjoyed. But now that I know that there's some differences between the tiny samples I got from West Coast shaving and the actual soap, I might try a couple more out. But as you can see, lots of lather remaining. So that 30-second load, probably a little bit of an overkill, but not by much. Maybe 20-25 seconds, maybe what I can use for next time. This is a very strong soap. If it's I don't like all those florals. I think the lemon is coming through. The geranium, very strong. The fern, not much cedar or patchouli. No vanilla. I can't smell vanilla in there. Moss. The musk is probably coming through a little bit. But man, just the sweetness of and I mean literal sweetness, not oh sweet. Not really smelling the tonka or the amber. So all those base notes, they are staying very quiet. They're just being overwhelmed by the citrus and the florals. And that fern probably is probably doing a big hit of it. So, not my thing, this one, as it turns out. Who knew? Sample kind of led me down the wrong path. But their base is terrific, and that's what started out this paragraph, because I want to find something in their base that I really enjoy. And because their scent strength is nice and high where I like it. Excellent glide, just sliding around the skin. Good protection. I don't feel any irritation or nicks or anything like that. Looks like maybe I need to do a touch up right there. So this is a good blade, and it can be had for very little money. I kind of dumped and rinsed my brush, and so I lost my lather. I just haven't had to do a touch-up right here. But as you can see, just a little bit left, and really it'll probably be just fine. You don't need tons and tons of lather. So I'm gonna, oh yeah. Excellent. Good coverage. Not perfect, but very good. Happy with that. No irritation. I'd rather have an irritation-free and reasonably short cut rather than baby butt smooth with a bothered face. Like so many soaps, after the shave, this scent doesn't hang around too much. It's not too present right now. Now I bet I'm a little nose blind to it. And so I bet my family could still smell it on me and stuff. I'm going to bust out some of this Dunshire balm from Stirling. Since this is a midday shave, and I've got other people who are going to smell me, and so I want to put on something that they like. This is no longer August with midnight stag. All right, there we go. Well, excellent shave. Glad to use that WR2 for one more time before I trade it off. And I think trading it's going to be the right thing. I'm trading it for a lower gap, and so that means it's going to be even smoother. And I think it'll be the new one will be a joy to use as well, just like this one. So for the Wilkinson sword, worked great in this razor. I've put all my favorite blades into this razor. I think the Pole Silver was the only one that maybe didn't quite work as well as it does in most of the other razors for me. But I just tried it once, you know, so that's what we know. Definitely worth trying again some other time, but I'll have a new razor head, and we'll of course try the Pole Silver in it then too. But the Gillette Silver Blue was one of the best that happened to work for me. That's all subjective. It may not work for you. Blades are just that, subjective. But the Wilkinson sword is a good budget blade to try. It worked out well for me, and there are places where you can sell off your unused stuff if you happen to make a wrong purchase. The Shave Bazaar on Reddit is a great place, and then forums like Badger and Blade, Damn Fine Shave have buy-sell areas, buy-sell trade areas as well on their sites. And so it's good to it's good for us shavers to, so many things are subjective. And so if you buy a soap and it doesn't agree with you, are you stuck using it for the next 4 months, 6 months, some cases a year? No, just sell it instead of trashing it and wasting your money. Sell it to somebody else or trade it for another soap. That's why I have a lot of soaps. If there was no trade option and selling option out there, I'd be much more choosy with my soap purchases. Anyway, this is a good one. I used 3.5 teaspoons of soap for that 30-second load, and I can reduce that for that soap base and still have plenty of lather, as we discovered. So yeah, this one a little too floral for me. So the soap, thumbs down, just because of my own personal tastes. The blade, thumbs up. Not as nice as the GSB, but still very good. And delivered a nice close shave. So performance and feel were good with that one. And the razor, of course, was terrific. All right, now, I hope there was something here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care.